So Suzy Wu is an international metaphysician specializing in consciousness medicine. She's a powerful healer, medical intuitive, channeler of guides, collectives, and galactics, astrologer, psychic medium, gong practitioner, which is my favorite sound instrument, light language activator, past life regressionist, Akashic Records reader, cacao ceremony facilitator is my favorite drink, crystal skull whisperer, motivational speaker, success coach, spiritual educator, and author. She holds life changing retreats and empowers people to find yourself, love yourself, and be proud of who you are. So, Suzy, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you so very much. It is an honor.
It's an honor to have you too. And I feel your frequencies just from the emails, you know? So I can really feel that what you're passionate about. And then you being on here today and just seeing what's around you, these skulls, the gong, the frequency that is supporting you, you really are walking the talk of what you are here to embody on this planet. So I would love for you to just start out by just explaining, maybe we could start out with some of your journey. You know, what are some milestones and what are some things that took you to this place, waking you up to these bigger truths that now you are a practitioner of?
Yes, thank you. I actually it's pretty much alchemy, I think. The first half of my life, I had no voice and I didn't really have strong direction. And at 16, I fell into the first person that gave me attention, which ended up turning into a violently abusive relationship, which lasted 22 years. And after I finally got out for the last time, I rekindled my love of astrology. And in doing so, one thing led to another. I wanted to understand the why. And then I tripped upon the terms narcissist and empath, ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, and then it started to make sense. And then I went to study not just astrology, but psychology, behavior medicine. That led to actually tarot and divination tools, which I was not exactly a big believer in. As a Scorpio rising, I don't trust. I have to learn experientially. And then it wasn't until I met Jerry Sargent, Star Magic Healing, that we, as students, I took his training, and as students, we watched each other like fix a bone, straighten somebody's spine. And that's when I was a real firm, that's when I knew the stuff was real. And that fully upped my game. Reiki was nice and it's lovely, but I'm a Leo and I need more, and Reiki just wasn't enough. So now I've woven all of that stuff in. And the one of the last things was, oh, I'm not a medium, but everybody else said, yes, you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. But then I started getting people's family members' information and they would validate that. And then the very last thing that showed up was channeling the Galactics, Elohim, Seraphim, and now galactic channeling and light language. And so now it's the whole barrel all woven together in beautiful ways.
And then I'm curious, how did the ET connection start about? Because I'm feeling from your presence in this conversation, I'm feeling the presence of the Galactics almost immediately. So
Yeah.
maybe you can speak a little bit more of what transpired in that process for you. And also the Seraphim. I've heard about the Seraphim. I would love to know more about who these beings are.
Angelic order. So it's an angelic order, but even though there is no ranking system, I teach everything that I know, and so I have a spiritual healers course. And during one of the sessions is when this came through, and I started to get this surge of energy that came up. And I rest my eyes closed because I always see better that way. And all this information started coming through, and the identification was Elohim. And even years before that, I was hearing seraphim. And I didn't know what these terms were, and I would look them up and see if that felt right. But the visual that I had was this big feather ball with all these eyeballs on it. And I was able to find that in the research. And so I knew it was something. And the other thing is, I am very big with numerology and the Lionsgate portal energy. And every year I hold a big Lionsgate retreat, and which involves the Syrians. And I love working with Lemurian energy, and gosh, it's kind of never ending, but I really like the Lyran energy. But there's lots of other ones that they just happen to show up, and then I'll kind of like mishmash some search terms. I'll find some people that channel it, or if I could research it. I know The Cedars is a good book that helped me to say, oh, that's who I saw. Because even doing a healing for one of my clients, I had seen the praying mantis head. And it scared me to death. I was like, what is this? But I'm in the middle of a session. So, of course, I can't be like, ah. And what they had put into my consciousness is, we are sending you one of our own. I was like, oh. And so you just learn to trust, because when you're in the heat of the moment, you can't stop. You can't present that you don't know what you're doing or what is this when you have a client on your healing table. You just go with it. And so now, because I completely step aside, I fully move over, and that whatever it is just flows right through and utilizes, my vocabulary and as an instrument to bring through whatever needs to be brought through.
And do other beings, the specific beings that come through you, or are you an open channel and different types of beings have a partnership with you in order to bring forth their message?
It's the latter. I call it my guidance. And so that guidance is my gatekeeper. And so those are my personal guides. I call them my guidance. And then they will bring, and they're here now really, really strong. And they will introduce, it's almost like a merry-go-round, whoever wants to present. And I don't always know like the label, and I'm very anti-label. But my guidance, the gatekeepers only will allow through what is for the good of whoever I'm about to present to, and of course, and for myself as well.
I love, like, you kind of said that before, you're seeing things come through, names were coming through, but you hadn't ever researched any of this stuff, and then you started looking it up afterwards, and then you were like, well, this actually exists, right? And that is, I mean, there is no better validation than that. And that's what happened
Right.
to me early in when I was like getting into all this. I was creating poetry about ET races in 2000, 2001, when I was 17, 18. And then I started researching it and realizing that these races are actually people are channeling it, you know?
Wow.
So it must have been a really huge validation for you that you were on the right path, right?
Big time. Last summer, I was staying with some spiritual teachers of 40 years in their home built into the side of the mountain in Colorado. And it was the summer solstice, and I had a crazy experience. This huge channel. I set up a crystal, not a crystal pyramid, a copper pyramid with crystal grids. I always listen to my guides. I do exactly as I'm told. And then I sat under it, and this tremendous channeling came in, and the teachers are just listening to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I step aside and out it comes, and I'm bawling, and they're talking about the false presentation, the black cube. It was at a 45-degree angle, and all of this stuff, and who I am, and my soul, and where I've been, and cast out into the cold, and all this other stuff. And after I finished, it was probably a solid 40 minutes. They were like this, and they gave me the Cedars book. And they're like, we've been teachers for 40 years. What you said, this is what we teach. And this was only 1 year ago, and everything has really accelerated since then.
You said a keyword here. We got to go into it. You said black cube. Okay, so is this got to do with Saturn at all? What is the black?
Yes, yes, yeah. So it's a nefarious bandwidth, I guess I would call it, that hold an inverse intention to kind of like brainwash humanity and kind of lead them to slaughter, sort of. It's one grade above a slave race, and they would funnel through the information to be dispersed so that people believe a certain way, and it couldn't be any further from the truth. And I'm going to bring it way, way down for a really lame example. Like media would present like a gypsy in my crystal ball, and I tell you a future, and they make fun of that and then cast it out everywhere to get everybody to poo-poo that. But I can tell you, everybody, like every president, everybody who is really important, they have an astrologer, they have a medium. So, you can't tell me that it doesn't hold value.
Yeah, so this makes sense. It's have you heard of the Saturn Moon matrix? The
Saturn-Moon matrix.
Yeah, it's a term that's been utilized in conspiracy worlds for a while, that there's a bandwidth frequency from Saturn to the moon that creates an illusion around the Earth that creates this false matrix system, right? And then Saturn obviously has the cube connection to it. And so in the Kali Yuga, we have one of the themes is delusion, right? So the black cube, which connects to the Saturn moon matrix, is almost like what's right is wrong, what's wrong is right. And what you showed with
Wow.
the media thing is a great example. I don't think that's a lame one. It's a great example because that's how they really distort the truth to make us think the truth is actually crazy and what's
Yes.
crazy is actually not.
Right. Yeah, 100%. When they showed me that black cube, they said that it was tipped at an angle at 45%. So even some of the people that were reading it were still presenting it slightly modified.
So, and I know, speaking of Saturn, Saturn went into Aries on May 24th, which was Saturday, right?
Yes, it sure did.
And you said that some things came through at that moment. So I'd love for you to just take it away and share anything you want about that.
Yes, so something that's never happened before. I was leading a group for an all-day, it was a sensitives retreat, and we were working with some crystals connecting to the solar plexus because it's getting very activated with all of our solar flares and so forth. And so after that, I was working with lepidolite. Now, I super love lepidolite. It has lithium in it, which helps with anxiety and things like this. But everything has its own higher power. So the sun has a higher self. I have had lots of dreams of seeing two suns. Anyway, so I was guiding this group with the lepidolite, and I always see better with my eyes closed. So I'm guiding everybody and I'm just whatever's coming through. And then all of a sudden, these clouds started to part and tears start coming down my face. And it's the crystal cities. And so these crystal cities are it's beyond the fifth dimension, but it goes one, two, what is it, four, five, all. Like five is the same as all. So it's this suspended frequency of non-physical energy where there is peace, there's rapidly accelerating energy. You don't need to use a physical body, and you don't need to use any like craft, but you could if you want to. So it's an option. And it was so powerful. It was like a power surge went through me. Saturn is restrictions, Aries rules the head, and at the end I got a massive migraine. And I don't get migraines. It knocked me out for the next several hours. I slept 16 hours, which is also not normal for me. And I was questioning, was this a psychic attack? And the response came through, no, it was an upgrade. And I was able to identify several years ago. I remember I bit into a Klondike ice cream bar and it tasted like petrol. It tasted like gasoline. And so that's an energy upgrade because your cells have intelligence, consciousness, and they don't want you putting any of that lower dimensional stuff into it, which is filled with toxins and poisons intentionally. And so I became aware it's an energy upgrade. And now this is only not long ago at all. So even more things are coming through now. Other types of ETs, even something from the 32nd dimension came through earlier. I had a healing client earlier today. So this is my life. Like I don't, become somebody else when I leave this office. I am one person all of the time. And it's awesome. I mean, it is a lonely path, but that's why I joined the family of Portal to Ascension these are our peeps.
And so, would you be open to maybe communicating with the Galactics right now, or if okay, yeah, let's do it.
I would so love to. I would so love to. And for those who watch, because we go through this phase of kind of control, that doesn't work. When you're in this kind of a space, there is no control, there's a lot of trust. So you pretty much just step aside. Now, with the light language, because I believe light language is also going to come through. See, I'm being told to remove my rings. Um, I don't question, I just do. But with light language, I always felt that I was making it up. Just like when I first started doing Reiki, I felt like I wasn't really doing anything.
Same
But
here.
now I understand from the recipients and how powerful it actually is. So this is actually Neil. This is direct. You're getting okay, I can see who this is. I don't have a label, but it begins with an R. So this is a spirit guide of yours that is giving you a very specific message that your thymus is about to be activated over the next 3 weeks. And you're going to be, this is the high heart chakra. You're going to be receiving a lot of galactic light codes to nourish something that has up until now been a little bit dry. And it's going to give you a lot of additional strength through your whole energetic field. Okay, so the next thing that's going to show up this year's summer solstice is going to be extremely powerful. Okay, we're getting some Lyran energy, which to me it's mixing with some dragon energy. Now, this is going to be some light language coming through. And I always feel a little bit silly, but you just have to put all that aside and get used to it. And here, this we have Syrians as well. We've got Lyran Council. We've got some Syrian guides. And here we go. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Bring your awareness down into your chest. Bring your awareness all the way down into your heart center. Breathe into your heart and imagine your heart like an enormous ball of energy. Yeah. This is a time of dissolving timelines. Many people are moving to a freedom template, and the old templates underneath are crumbling like brown ash. Okay, they're also indicating fall, implosion of fall of the Vatican. We already know that there's a lot of dark stuff there. It's going to break open and we're going to be able to see what's going on in there. It is safe to be humble. It is healthy to be humble. It is important to know thyself. With the Saturnian energy and the energy of Aries, this has to do with know what you stand for, know your limits and play within it. Once you learn the rules, then it's okay to be able to bend them, that you're able to liquefy matter. And once that matter is liquefied, you can manipulate it. And manipulating is not a bad word. And this is the pure essence of what alchemy is you're taking one set or grouping of structure and using your highest consciousness, you are directing it and giving it what to do. Just like you would advise a dog, come over here, sit, fetch. It's the same thing. It is your command. Everything follows intention, and you will feel this galactic light that is getting ready. So much stuff is coming through. This galactic light is coming through in greens, yellows, and coppers, and these other technologies about the free energy are coming in such powerful numbers that they're unable to stop this. And this is a beautiful thing. It is something that your world has asked for so many times. And so many times they have been unalived, let us say, and welcome in these new energies as we're clearly going to have the fall of your power grids. We already see this coming as well. It is being replenished. And oh, also there's going to be a fall within the archipelago. And our channel saw this coming. And what this is, it is an arising of what used to be a formative island, very fully intact. And in this are some of these codes that have been hidden that were unable to be brought forth to the public before now because there was not enough weight of a higher consciousness present on your planet before now. And you have tipped these scales, and you should all be very proud of this. And it is through love and compassion. And you're already aware of the scales tipping, and that there is no more ability to hold the heavier false perceptions and confusion. But unfortunately, the end result are compro immunized people, and the focus is coming up. This involves your planetary shift of Jupiter moving into Cancer, and this is going to be family issues and reproductive concerns. And there was going to be a dip in the population, but with every dip is an upsurge. With every ebb, there is a flow. And so you can trust in the system that as Gaia is going through a healing, so too are you, because you are inhabitants on that planet. And that planet is your home. It is your home. It is the Earth Mother. Jupiter is in its exaltation in the sign of Cancer. And this means you must self-nurture and display your compassion and live in a bandwidth of compassion for yourself first. It is not selfish. And when you do this, you emanate a particular glow, and it will give others permission to also glow in a safe manner. It is your individual's mission to find out what is it that you shine for. Follow your passions, follow what it is, follow your dreams. Dream big. There are no limits. Remove all limits at all times. There are no limits whatsoever. Anything that you imagine that you can perceive can actually happen through your higher consciousness. And especially when you commune with others, just like you are and Neil and your community and those that you bring together, you raise the galactic conscious. No. The galactic consciousness is very aware of your work and the circles that you're bringing, and you are actually leaving imprints. You're leaving ring impressions where you go, where you gather. And this overall is increasing the entire light force energy, the crystalline grizz of your planet and the higher dimensions. We see you, we honor you. You're very good, very kind, and very bright, ingenuitive individual. And we believe we need to return our channel so that you can complete your interview. We are the guides.
Beautiful. What a great message. Um, just there's some things that stood out here I just want to say, but then I would like to know more about the guides if you could. You said know the rules so you can bend them. That's a good one. Trust in the ebbs and flows. The downs come with the ups and vice versa. I got that from that. You know, when you see the downs, just know that it's going to be followed by those ups, and live in a bandwidth of compassion. And when you glow, you give others the permission to glow as well.
It feels so good. I'm just
Beautiful
so
messages.
tingly.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it is. It's there's no reason for us to dim our lights at this moment. We have to shine bright, and not dimming our light for others, for our family, but just to fully be ourselves. Because if we all going to dim our lights, then we'll never really truly embody what we're capable of being, right?
Right. But the problem is we weren't raised to be ourselves. So we don't know who we are. We're born into a family and we're told eat this way. This is how we, practice, religion. This is how we treat our neighbors. And then you go to school and you don't have a voice there either. And so it creates
Right.
this big detachment from who we are at soul level.
So then that's a great segue into then how do we get to a point where even though we had those, because I had that for sure, and I was dimming my light even up until recently, how do we get to a point where we can shine by transcending those traumas and those challenges that made us dim them in the first place?
It's by recognizing what it is that you truly love. So when I first got out of my relationship, I had no idea what I liked anymore. And that's scary. And I realized, my kids don't know who I am. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't know who I am. And that was terrifying. And it's by going into your heart space. You have to leave your head and go down into your heart space and then invite in what makes me me. What are the things that I actually enjoy? A wonderful start is what is your favorite color and what color do you like the least? And then you look up the chakras. But it is being able to connect with what is it that I need. So here's a tool. just to kind of cut to the chase, is by going into your own heart energy, nice and quiet. You're leaving this, you're coming down into your chest, and you're breathing into your heart chakra, and you ask your heart, please show me what you need right now. And it always comes immediate. If we take time to think about it, then that monkey mind kicks in and we start analyzing. Don't do that. It's always immediate, always, always, always. And a lot of times this brings people to tears because they didn't realize it's what they've been denying and running away from. And we also don't want to be looking for somebody else to complete us.
Right.
When there's so many people, oh, I need my other half. Well, you're declaring that you are a half person. And so you're going to attract another half person. You're going to have a trauma bond. They're going to abandon you. And so when you learn how to become whole and complete yourself, you will attract somebody that is whole and complete. That's the way that it works. It has to work that way.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good one. And, just being in therapy myself, that's something that my therapist had told me is like, take a moment to really realize what you need. Ask yourself what you need in those moments when you feel anxious, depressed, things like that. And it's like when we're being raised, a lot of times, many of us, our family never asks us what we need. Right. And it's like we don't even have the tools. And for some people, I see it when you getting to those teary points. For me, the tears would come in. Wow, no one's ever asked me that before. No one's ever cared. I've never asked that for myself before, right? So that's a really beautiful tool.
Yeah, it's deep. It's deep. And it's very powerful. And then, a lot of times we don't know where to go next. Well, what do I do about this? Then you invite your higher self, your higher power, the God of your understanding, to please help fill my cup, to help bring in what it is that I lack, or to please help show me my next steps. You don't ask yes or no questions to spirit. You're gonna be disappointed because it's not a yes or no thing. And you'll feel disappointed, and then you're going to go outside, and then the answer to your question is going to be on the side of a semi truck. You're going to turn on the radio, and it's going to be the first line that comes on. That's how spirit engages with you.
Right, right. So follow the signs, right?
Exactly right. Yeah, pay attention.
So what's as you're sharing the story about the saxophone, and to me that kind of symbolizes like joy and also what activates your soul, and maybe for some time that you chose not to because you've been told this is what you should be. For example, for me, I was told I should be a graduate in business, lawyer, doctor. That's the kind of energy around me, right? And but it never brought me joy. And then I became an adult, and because I never had the yardstick to measure what brings me joy, I couldn't even gauge what it does. So, could you maybe speak on that more? How you follow that, and what is joy, and how do we embody it?
Beautiful. Yes. What is it that brings me joy? What colors do I like? What textures do I like? You should decorate yourself. I kind of think like Americanized Christmas trees. So you've got beautiful pine trees in the forest. You don't need to kill it, but you can decorate it. So you have this beautiful physical expression, excuse me, that many of us have been trained to not like or not love. Oh my God, I hate my teeth, or I hate my hair, or I hate my voice, whatever it is. That is the worst thing you can do to spirit, because you are an expression of spirit. So you are created so that spirit can see itself reflected in you. I kind of feel like, think of a body of water, and whatever your favorite time of day, whether it's daytime or nighttime, and it's a beautiful, clear day. And so you either have the sun dancing upon the water or the moon dancing on the water. You are a reflection in the water. And so when you're like, oh, I hate my this, I hate my that, it's creator being very sad because you're displeased with creation itself, which you are. You have to know that you are love itself. Know that you are loved, even beyond your understanding. What is it that you actually love? Like, you have to figure that part out. Make the connection. How do I feel alive? Do you like to dance? Do you like to sing? Like, go back to when you were very young, and what is it that you dreamt of doing? What did you want to be when you grew up? What did you romanticize about? Who did you pretend to be? What role did you play? So I like to play teacher. I like to play store. And I ran for 3 years a crystal shop to supplement my practice. But I used to, I remember flying. So I've had so many dreams of flying very easily just with my intentions, and I'm up and I'm moving around. And so when I was little, I went out in the front yard and I'm like going, 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 and my fingers are getting numb, and I'm wondering why I'm not getting anywhere. And it truly didn't make any sense to me at all. I do connect with the inner earthers as well, even though I'm going off topic, but connecting to your joy, because it's really important. I don't want to go away from that. It's by going into your heart. You will not get the answer in your head because your brain is there to protect. And so that I call it little guy. So little guy is always there going, oh my God, what's coming at me next? You're not going to get anything done that way, but that's how you do your math problems, and that's how you figure out what you're going to do day to day. You've got to go down into here. Now, on like EEGs, you can measure your heart, as Joe Dispenza's territory, way far away, but from your head, it's really, really short. So when you go into your heart always knows the truth. Your brain is going to protect you with what we would call a lie. When we go into our heart and imagine opening it up, what makes that sing? What brings me joy? What do I like doing? And then begin to do it. So if you really love to play with dolls and you were interacting with these dolls, most likely those were spirit guides coming through. But then your parents are like, well, you got to start school. You can't be taking those dolls to school. And so it's that disconnect. And then we kind of shut that down. And so go and get yourself a doll. And because you want to start to rekindle that beautiful you before you started to get shut down. When I'm doing an energy healing with somebody, for the first time, I will go up into their crown chakra and I will invite, please show me the beginning point of the pain body in this lifetime experience. And I'll see it. And sometimes it was picking flowers. And then when I tell the person, they burst into tears because they picked somebody's tulips and the neighbor like lambasted them and they get in all kinds of trouble. And so we heal that first wound, and then usually it involves bringing their soul back to the earth onto the nice soft grass and letting them know it's okay and that they're safe. And then I download that healed young version, and then they grow up in right there during the session. And then I go on to the other stuff. And then usually that will open somebody up to saying, I'm going to go here today, or I'm going to go there today, or even a place. There might have been a location you dreamt about. Maybe you always wanted to go to Naples or Machu Picchu or something like that. Well, you need to. So look at the pictures, see what's lighting up, and then save up your pennies and you book the trip. It's there for reasons. And you want to ride those reasons. You don't want to let people talk you out of them, and follow those. And that's how you open up your
Yes,
journey.
beautiful. I love what you said as well about reconnect to you before that part of you was shut down.
Yeah.
Right. That's powerful. So, okay. So, in closing, I would like for you to share on, because I can tell that you're connected to many different beings, many guides, spirit beings, angelic realms. And I feel like you're the perfect conduit to be asking this too. Is what is your gauge on the collective consciousness right now of humanity and the shift? A lot of people see struggle, suffering, division in the world. I personally see that as opportunity. I don't see it like that. But what I would love to know what you're receiving.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And so there's new light shining upon the planet. I'm seeing the planet this way being tipped this way, and now it's healthy. And so it is the sun's higher power. There's a mirror universe, which is now, because where the Earth is spinning, the closest to the galactic center it ever has been. There's time bending that's occurring. We're sensitive to that time bending. It's magnetizing us and it's creating another antimatter that we are becoming sensitive to, and you will start to notice a lot of what we're calling crosstalk. And many people are going to think that they are losing their mind, and they're not. And that is why they need people like you and the people that you are bringing into your community. Where the earth is moving into, It's almost like the earth is it's shedding. It is like the earth is shedding a skin. The inner earthers have been freed, by the way. They were imprisoned for millennia. They have been set free. There is far more new beings, other seed races that are now able to engage with you where they couldn't before. And so those who are alert to that, who are aware of that, it's going to start speaking to them. There is a very chattery entity that feels there's several other entities that are waiting in line to come through, but where the state of Gaia is that her the energy of her having been ravaged has come to a completion, and this is further supported by all of your outer planets that are moving into fire and earth energies during the saturation. The very slow decay of Mother Earth's insides is because of the minings, the drilling, and the disturbance of those tectonic plates. These are now, it might look bad, but it's going to come up and it's going to reveal lost worlds, lost cities, lost codes, and there will be much, 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 much celebration. And other light codes are coming with some grandfather volcanic activity, more seismic activity. Some locations will not be around anymore. Geographically will seem to have been consumed by the water. These are also natural states. You can say the light has returned. However, there are still so many unevolved human beings, and that is their choice. And this will complete, and you can liken it to the 40 days in the desert with the biblic story. And this is because the generations need to pass away. And so this is an in-between time. It absolutely is this beautiful Kali Yuga. And it is a time of celebration. You could think of it as the golden age on another dimension, and you have made it, and you're also receiving orange and pink light, which is also newer. We've been bringing in a lot of blues and golds. That's our Pleiadians. And now we are receiving these beautiful oranges and pink hues, and this is some time bending stuff to help your nervous system to upgrade a little bit more simply, because there's a lot of chaos going on currently as these planets are still changing and they're sending mixed signals. Those who will go down with this ship, wish them well. When they come back, they'll know better. And those who are most likely tuned in, those that we are connecting to right now, or actually watching this at any time that this happens to be for you, that you are receiving divine healing in your own individual light codes in this now moment.